Hi, everybody, and welcome to First Baptist Church of Ravenswood. I'm Pastor Toby Wagner, and we're going to give you just a couple of minutes to get on. If you're watching, would you go ahead and hit share with us right now so other folks can get this information? We're going to be talking to you a little bit about new guidance that we have from the health department on an outdoor worship service, and we're going to talk a little bit about that. We'll explain the difference of that and the inside guidance that we have for worship, and then we're going to talk a little bit about our plans for this Sunday's worship service, and I have a special treat. I was able to con Miss Abby and Miss Ann and the worship team to come out and fire up a song for you, just to kind of let you at home see what it's going to sound like or look like watching them do the worship part from our church. So that's going to be a wonderful opportunity. So we'll give everybody a minute. We'll start at 12:01 here. Get folks get on with us and get this update. We want you to understand how the outdoor service is going to work. The new guidance we're so excited about. We have it approved from the health department so we can do our outdoor worship service. So we're excited about that, and we're going to try it all this Sunday morning. So we think it's an opportunity to bring everybody together in the church. As many that want to come out will be able to. We're going to be able to spread people out. It's going to be a lot of fun. So again, just going to give everybody a moment. If you're watching right now, hit share on your Facebook feed so that everybody can start watching this with us. That way they won't have to go back and watch it on tape. They can just kind of go along with us today. So again, Pastor Toby, outside of First Baptist Church in Ravenswood, in our courtyard, and we've moved to the sound system outside. We moved a piano outside, a pulpit, and we want to talk to you a little bit about our plans for the weekend's service. So we're excited about that. We're excited about this new guidance. We think you're going to appreciate it. We'll tell you how it differs from the inside guidance, how we're going to notify you if there's a location change or weather issue. We're going to give you all that information here in a few moments. And then I'm going to have Abby and Ann to sing a song for you just to bless your heart. So it is 12:01, and I'm going to go ahead and start. And let me just say, first of all, thanks for joining us here on Facebook Live on your Thursday afternoon. Some of you may be heading out to lunch, so you just keep eating lunch and enjoy us as we give you the information. So the deacons and I, along with our head trustee, met last night here at the church once we got approval from the health department. Going back nearly 10 weeks ago, the way we've had to worship in our church service has been different. We now had health guidelines coming from the state of West Virginia at the state level, filtered down through the health department level onto us. And the Governor Justice, in his guidance that was issued to the health departments for churches and other religious institutions about how to worship inside the building. There were some guidelines that they had. We went through those step by step. We consulted not only with our local health department on our guidance for inside the building, but we also were working closely with the health department and our insurers, and even had some legal guidance on that document. So inside, when we worship, masks are required, and even with the governor's own information, guidance was masks were to be ensured to be worn. So we had to ensure that masks were worn. We also had to ensure that that hands were sanitized before entering the building. So we began, once we had our guidelines in place for inside, which we've only been inside for a couple of weeks, we wanted to work with the health department to try and establish what can we do for outside worship. And so we started communicating with them. Once we learned that the governor had issued new guidance for outdoor auctions that was effective May 29th, we began to ask the health department if we could modify the same guidelines that auctions are using for outside sales, to modify those a little with separation and making masks optional as they are with outdoor auctions. As long as we could keep people separated, could we do it? Well, once we got approval last night of our plan, we quickly called together a meeting to approve that, approve the health department's recommendations that they reviewed of our plan, and then the deacons approved it so it would be implemented. So the good news is we now have guidance for that. I'm going to go over that guidance with you point by point here in a moment and talk about our service this weekend. But I want to go ahead and bring in Abby and Ann here in just a moment. They're going to sing a song for you. I want you to see this coming Sunday, we're planning to move a service outside And I asked them if they'd come by just so that they could sing a song to you and kind of let you see what that's going to sound like or look like here on the courthouse or our church courtyard square. And so Gary, if you would flip over there, and let's listen in with Abby and Ann as they say. Thank you, Miss Abby and Ann. Aren't they just beautiful? Thank you, ladies. You guys look so beachy today. They've got their sunglasses on. I love it. Speaking of which, we're going to talk about that. So again, for those of you just tuning in, it's Pastor Toby. I'm out in the courtyard here at First Baptist Church of Ravenswood. And what we're doing is we wanted to come to you live today because we're really excited about the guidance that we have for outdoor worship. So for those of you just tuning in, let me remind you, we worked for weeks to get our inside church worship guidelines approved. Now, not all churches do the same thing, and some maybe not have, put the work into doing some of the stuff that we did or sought all the guidance that we did. But negligence is something you have to be really concerned about when you're a church. And when health departments give you guidance and you choose not to follow it, then the liability falls on the church. So what we have done is we spent a lot of time working on our indoor guidance, and we have that. As you know, when we worship inside here at the church, we have to wear masks. It's not optional. The governor's guideline says to ensure that everyone has masks prior to entry, that they're wearing masks. We have to ensure that hands are sanitized. We have to ensure that seating is socially distanced, etc. So we've done all that. Our guidance is perfect for inside. We know in our church we have about 3 different kinds of opinions about our services. We have some folks who say we've opened our sanctuary too soon, and we put people at risk. We have others who say, I would love to come, but I just can't wear a mask. I'm not going to do that. And we certainly understand where you're coming from. And then we have others who have really just said, whatever you tell me I need to do to worship, I'm going to do it. And so we really had, folks on all sides of the aisle, and we think that we have everything in place for our indoor worship. So once we had that all finalized and taken care of and approved, we decided to go back to the health department, have consultation with them about how can we have an outside worship and can we loosen some of the guidance. Once we found out that the governor issued new guidance, health guidance from the state level for outdoor auctions, we thought that we could have our worship service kind of run like that and follow that. So we detailed our plan for that. We submitted it to the health department. They signed off on it last night. We pulled together our deacons and our head trustee to talk about that. And we know that as long as we follow those guidelines, we'll be in compliance with our insurance company and all the legal requirements that we have. So we're excited about it. So that's what we've done. And I want to share this guidance with you. And then I'll tell you where you can get a copy of that guidance. And not only where you can get it, but so you can understand it. So I'm going to read these to you. The good news is the inside guidance is actually 4-page long, and it's on our website. You can see that. For outside, look at this, it's only one page. So once we were so excited that we knew we could do this, we thought, let's do the announcement outside in the courtyard to show you at home what it's going to look like, to show you what it's going to sound like, how the musicians are going to work, etc. So basically, here's how this is going to work. So our service will be at this time from 10:45 to noon. It'll be the same service time that we use when we're inside the building. Now, in the event that it starts getting really, really hot outside during that time, the deacons have reserved the right to change that time, maybe move it earlier to try and get the service done before the heat of the day. But initially, we're going to try our outdoor service at 10:45 until noon, so the time will be the same. The other thing is we're asking you to arrive no earlier than 30 minutes. Now, for inside the building, the inside guidelines is 20 minutes, outside is 30 minutes. The difference is because inside, it takes extra care to seat you and point you where you're going to go. Outside seating, basically how that's going to work is you can bring your own lawn chair. If you've got a nice chair that you have that you like to enjoy a cookout with or something like that, you can bring it. If you don't have a lawn chair, we'll have the folding metal chairs here. You can take as many as you need, and then you'll move on to the courtyard. The courtyard will be marked off in a way that will separate those who choose to come wearing a mask and those who choose to come and worship without a mask. So there'll be a division as far as whether you want to wear a mask or not. So we'll have that there. But other than that kind of specific seating, as long as you choose an empty area that's at least 8 feet apart, 6 to 8 feet apart from the others on your side of the section, you can kind of sit where you want in the area. We're going to have it all marked off for you. We'll have one common entrance and one common exit. Our head trustee, or our head usher rather, John Moore is going to be here. He'll help flag you where to go and what to do if you have questions on that. But we're really, really excited about it. So for those of you who are wearing a mask, anytime you're out and around people, maybe you're still wearing a mask, it's recommended. And even for outdoors in this setting, it's recommended you wear one, but it's not required. Inside, we have to ensure that you have one on. But outside, it's recommended only. And then if you choose not to, then you're just seated a little further away from the other group. So there'll be an aisleway here in the courtyard that will have the different seating from those with mask and those without. So if you want to come with a mask, you're welcome to do that. If you decide to come and attend the worship service without a mask, you'll be able to do that. So it's entirely up to you what you want to do. The only thing we ask is that you follow the seating pattern, which is in the guidance. The other thing is that we're going to have a podium where I'm at here today. It will be seated between me and Abby and Ann that you saw sing earlier. There'll be at least 12 feet between the podium and the first section of seats. So you'll actually be 12 feet back. Now that sounds like a long way, but when you think about the courtyard, it's really not that far away. In fact, the camera right now that I'm looking at is exactly 12 feet away. So that's why it's there. So to kind of give you an idea of how that's going to work. The other thing I want to point out to you is that we want you to dress comfortably. If you come to the outdoor service on Sunday, look, it's going to be about 81 degrees. That's expected to be the high of the day. So we believe by the time we get started, it's probably going to be in the 70s. And by the time we get done, it'll be right around 80 degrees. So we know that you may not want to, put on your Sunday best for that. You may want to. If you do, that's fine. I'm not going to be preaching in a suit that day, to give you an example. But if you want to wear something more comfortable, if you want to wear your jeans or your jean shorts, you want to wear something like that, that's fine. If you want to wear a hat, you're welcome to wear a hat. Somebody asked me just when the guidance last night we were discussing it, can people bring umbrellas? And the answer is no. We're not allowed. The guidance does not allow for umbrellas or tents. So we can't do that because they do not restrict the airflow or divert airflow towards somebody else. So no tents or no umbrellas. So we are saying if you want to wear a hat, ladies, if you have a brimmed hat that you want to wear, it might help keep the sun off you a little bit, you're certainly welcome to do that. Yes, wear your sunshades. I won't make jokes that you're sleeping, and that's why you wore the dark glasses. I won't make any jokes about this. So you can wear your sunglasses. The other thing is you'll want to get some sunblock, right? You'll want some suntan lotion. And we're all going to smell like coconuts together, right? But put a little sunblock on and come out. And you say, well, brother, I appreciate it, but I'm in the high-risk group. Listen, if you're in the high-risk group, which primarily is those over the age of 65, those with serious chronic health conditions, or if you work around someone with COVID, etc., if you're in a high-risk group, you probably, shouldn't be here for the service, right? But if you choose to come, And you may choose to sit on the sidewalk, which is way away from everybody. You may choose to, maybe watch from in front of Gary's house across the street or in front of the parsonage. If you want to put a chair there, you'll be able to see and watch from there. So I think with the way that our area is here in the courtyard, you can probably watch it as safe as you ever could imagine. I mean, there's plenty of room here. We can keep you safe, we can keep you distanced, and with these guidelines, we're so grateful for the health department folks for working with us on this, because at the end of the day, we now have guidance for inside the building, and we have guidance outside the building. And we're going to continue to work with our health departments every 2 weeks to see if there's anything that we can remove from that. And when we can do away with them, as your pastor, I promise we're going to do away with them. But we have an obligation to you, not only to protect you, but to follow the laws of the land and to follow the health department public health guidance. And it's important for insurance and liability protection, as well as not being negligent on our part. So keep that in mind as we move forward. And really the only other thing that we ask is that you socially distance yourself before and after the service by at least 6 feet. Somebody said, do you think that they can, that people will want to bring a bottle of water? Yes, if you want to bring a bottle of water, you're certainly welcome to do that. We wouldn't blame you at all if you want to do that, or your coffee for that matter. It won't be a problem. As far as restrooms, we'll use restrooms in the fellowship hall. We do ask that you try and use the restroom before you get here. We'd like to not have any traffic inside the building if we can keep from it. But if you do need the restroom, we'll have the fellowship hall doors unlocked for that specifically. And parents, if you bring your kids and they want to sit in a blanket in front of you, that's perfectly fine. We'll have busy bags for them, which will have some children's activities. And for the older kids that normally go to junior church, we're going to have some listen to the pastor message and fill out the blank. They get to kind of do some investigation throughout the sermon. And by the way, speaking of the sermon, I'm going to have something that you probably haven't seen for a long time. Maybe some of you haven't used one in a long time. I've got a pressure cooker I'm bringing here. We're going to talk about the pressure of life and how do we deal with it. And we're going to use a real-life pressure cooker as an object lesson in the first part to set the scene for that message. We're going to talk about Paul's affliction, his thorn in his flesh, and how he overcame that. We're going to see how we can use the same principles he talks about to overcome the trials and tribulations in our life. So listen, we're coming to you today to let you know that this Sunday morning, beginning at 10:45, we're going to be outside with our worship service, just like you see here. You'll come out into the courtyard. We'll help you get seated. We'll help you where you are. Yes, you can wear a mask. Yes, you don't have to wear a mask. You'll be seated. One section will be for those wearing masks. Another section will be for those who are not wearing masks. So we're going to keep you safe. You can sit out as far away from the pulpit area or for the grassy area as you want, as long as you're at least 6 or 8 feet away. So a lot of freedom in the outside. And again, we want to thank the health department for approving our plan. And I thank the governor for his auction guidance that was released on May 29th, which really helped us modify our proposal for the outside worship that has been approved. So that's what's going on. If you want, as soon as I'm done here, go online to our website at www.fbcravenswood.org. You can Google it if you want to, just First Baptist Ravenswood. When you go to our website, these guidelines that I'm reading here, there's 17 numbers here, and most of this is more informational than actual guidance. But you can actually look at this document, take a look at it, print a copy out, review it, think about it, pray about it. Now, the one thing I didn't mention is what happens if the weather's bad? What happens if it rains? Well, if the weather is bad, which could either mean that it's just too wet, with all the rain that we may get this week, it might be too much to run the electric and stuff here on the wet ground. If that would happen, we would move it inside. If we do that, we'll put a message out on Facebook saying that there's been a location change. We'll also use our church all-call system, which calls all the members in our church, and we'll let you know that the service has been moved inside. If the service would ever be moved inside, we have to use the inside guidelines, which means that you would have to wear a mask to attend that service. We can't change that, and when we can, we will. But right now, there are 2 sets of guidelines, one for inside, one for outside. And we're going to try the outside service for a couple of weeks, see how it goes, and maybe kind of get your feedback as we go along. If we get a nice crowd, maybe a big crowd, maybe this is something we'll continue. If there are little crowds, we may just stay in the fellowship or in the sanctuary. But right now, we all have a chance to gather this Sunday with basically very little restriction, as the guideline will point out, and it's an opportunity for those of you who've only been watching online to come out and be with us. Now, one more thing. For those of you who are in that high-risk group that said, Toby, I want to be there so bad, I just can't be. Listen, we're going to continue to broadcast the service online just like you're seeing now. So it'll be a little different because it won't actually be in the sanctuary. You might hear the birds chirping. You might hear a lawnmower running. You might hear a diesel engine drive by or a motorcycle. Or a siren if the city has to respond to something. So you'll get those noises as normal, but otherwise you're going to be able to see it and hear it right in the comfort of your home. Just remember, right now, our first service will be at 10:45 to noon this Sunday, right here in the church courtyard, weather permitting. And if there's any changes, we'll let you know. So we're so excited to be here with you. We got to figure out how we're going to clean these cords and stuff up to make it look pretty come Sunday morning. I want to thank our deacons. I want to thank our deacon chairman, Kevin Woods, John Stevenson, deacon nominee John Moore. I also want to thank Ben Mize, and I want to thank Richard Massey for all their work in the many hours that they have spent in the last 9 weeks meeting with me, going over guidance, making changes to guidance so that we can be in compliance with our state and local health officials. I'm proud that First Baptist Church is following the guidance of the state. We're not following man, we're following God, and we believe He's given them godly wisdom to keep our congregation safe, and we believe even which has been a pat on the back from our insurance folks and everybody that we're consulting to make sure we're doing it right. Our number one responsibility is to get to heaven, right? But I don't want to get there if we can wait and reach other people, if we can wait a little longer here on the earth and do the work that God has for us. So we're going to continue to do things right. I look forward to you joining me here and joining the ministry team Sunday at 10:45. If you have any questions, feel free to call me this week here at the church. Susan's inside. She'll be glad to answer any of the questions you have. Think about it, pray about it, and if it's something you feel led to do, we hope that we're going to see you on Sunday morning. And again, special thanks to our friends at the health department for reviewing our guidance, and a big thank you for helping us get those approved so that we can worship together here outside. So wear a mask if you want to. Don't wear a mask if you want to. We'll seat you accordingly, and don't bring your umbrella, bring your hat, and bring your sunglasses. Until we meet again, God bless you. I'm Pastor Toby Wagner. Thanks so much, folks, and we'll talk to you soon.